This is Akin, aka Jack is the Truth. I'm delighted to be joined by cruiserweight prospect 2-0 Viddal Riley. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. How you doing? Am I taking the mic or you holding the mic? Cool. I always get confused with that. No, I'm good, man. I'm good. Like, we're at that point now, towards the end of the camp. Been preparing hard. Only 11 days to go, man. I'm excited. Very excited.
Okay, I'm going to start by introducing you. I'm excited to be here. It's not a lot of 2-0 prospects that have the notoriety that you have. Before we get onto the notoriety, why boxing? How did you get into boxing, and what led you to become a professional?
My dad used to box, so he was like, give it a try. It wasn't a thing where he's like, you're gonna do it. But I mean, it was just like, I used to do it here. Put the gloves on, see how you feel. And then I threw a few punches, and he was like, that's quite a lot of power for a kid, 'cause I was only about 2 or 3 years old. Wow. But he was like, it's a lot of force for a 3-year-old, you might have a talent. When I got to 6 years old, I went to the boxing gym for the first time, started practicing, basically built from 6 years old, had a few gaps in between because of injury, but pretty much been consistently boxing for 15 years now, so yeah, it's a long journey.
6 years old. I got 2 daughters. I couldn't imagine getting them involved in something that early on, because they haven't got the attention span. That's what I feel with kids. They're into one thing and then they jump onto the next. Yeah. How did your dad keep you focused?
Well, I think a part of it is bigger picture. If you're as a kid, if there's certain things you want and it's reinforced in your brain that a certain process it takes to get there, you're more inclined to stay on that path. Obviously, there was times when I just didn't want to do it, and he'd say, all right, don't do it. You got to give the kid that growth to be like, nah, it's not for me. But then when you realize you got a routine that you follow for so many years, once you stop, you realize you have to fill that gap. So, it helps keep you in the sport, pretty much.
So you're quite decorated at amateur level. You've achieved almost everything. What are some of the things that you have achieved at amateur level?
Well, I won every national title you can win, apart from the senior ABAs. Medalled at the European Games as a junior, qualified for the World Championships on multiple occasions. Was 6th in the world for a bit as well. Went to the Youth Olympic Games. I definitely achieved many things as an amateur, and that's obviously gonna help me in the pros, having that experience.
Okay, so you've done the amateur scene, and now you're 2-0, but you've cultivated such a following. I'll say you came into notoriety, being affiliated with KSI. So you trained KSI. How did that relationship come about?
I trained many of his friends first, and he just got called out to have a boxing match by another YouTuber, Joe Weller. And at that point of training his friends, they mentioned I'm a boxer. My personal trainer is a boxer. Give him a chance, see if he can train you. And he came down to the gym. We done a couple sessions. And then he realized, okay, cool. Yeah, like, you know what you're talking about. You know your stuff. Train me and go from there. And that's literally, we've just built from strength to strength, relationship-wise, and obviously his career as a boxer as well. So, yeah, it all worked in hand, really. Can't complain.
So literally, he was a novice until he met you, and then you put on that performance?
Never boxed before.
Okay, I've got an agenda. We have this thing on the Boxing Voice called Border Wars. It's where hosts get to fight each other. People that call in the show get to fight each other. And I've been looking for a boxing trainer, bruv. So if you could do that to KSI and Short Semester Sahib, what are my chances of training with you?
If I'm training you, Border Wars is going to be the least of your worries. It's going to be the least of your worries. Trust me. Everyone else might as well quit now.
You hear that, Des? I'm coming for you. Okay, so how does that work, though? I know the following that KSI has, it's a beast. So how did you tap into that and all of a sudden gain the amount of notoriety? Because all you've done essentially is train him.
It's I think it comes down to being exposed to his audience. They want to keep up to date with who's helping him. You know, he's a lot of people's idol and role model, so they want to say, who's he looking up to? Like, who's he learning from? Who's helping the guy that I look up to? And I feel like a lot of my fan base come from that. It was kind of like, okay, he listens to you and I listen to him. So why should I listen? Why does he listen to you? Let me look a bit deeper. And obviously, I'm a boxer primarily. So once they looked a bit deeper, they were like, oh, he can actually fight. That's why, you know, JJ is working with him. That's why KSI is interested, because this guy can fight. And I'm not just like, I'm a unique coach. You know, most coaches are older generation, can't really relate. But because I'm so young, his fans can relate to me as well. So I kind of think that's how it built gradually. But it worked well, because if I was an older coach and he did go for the traditional coach, there'd be no reason to have a following, you know. So
Absolutely. Okay, so 2-0. You fought in Mexico.
yeah.
You fought in the United States. And your next fight is in Dubai. so if anything, you're getting good air miles in.
Yeah, a lot of flights. But you know what? That's what boxing's about. As an amateur, I traveled the world. But to travel the world as an amateur, you need to reach a certain level. I was fortunate enough to be at that level where I visited multiple countries. So traveling isn't new to me. Boxing as a professional in these countries is new, but traveling and boxing is something I've been doing since 12, 13 years old. So I enjoy it, man. It's one of the perks to being good at what you do.
Okay, so my question about the traveling is, I know you've cultivated a following, but how do you hope to establish fans by not having a base? I know it's very early on. You've gone to Dubai. You're going to Dubai rather. You've gone to America. You fought on a very big bill in America, but people like Anthony Joshua, Anthony Yard, they're known for having a base, a stable. So how do you hope to generate that following? Or is that something you're not worried about? You're just taking the fights as they come? How do your fans get to see you? The people that have invested so much into you and into your career, how do they get to see you? They can't take those trips to Dubai, etc.
This is the thing. We're living in a day and age where the internet rules everything. So I don't per se need a base at this time, because my fan base, my support network is worldwide over the internet. People see my fights on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. You don't need to fly out. You don't need to be in the arena to know what happened. You know, within minutes, everyone knows what happened at my fight. And none of my fights have been televised, but they have millions of views because of the internet, because of YouTube and stuff like that. So the undercard of Pacquiao and Broner wasn't televised at all anywhere, but literally within hours, millions of views. So that goes to show that having a core base, of course, is one of those things you're never going to be like, oh, I don't need it. But at this time in my career, not having it isn't hindering me at all, you know, so.
I can respect that. It's just that I've spoken to a lot of up-and-coming prospects or people that have ticket deals, exclusive ticket deals with promoters, and that is the bane. Exactly. Are you confident, though, that you will always be able to sell tickets based on the following that you have?
Yeah, I feel like I've proven to have an exciting style thus far. I have personality. I can talk well, you know. I associate myself with a lot of people who have big followings, and friends with many people that have followings too. So I feel like selling tickets won't be an issue, especially as the boxing world start to follow me through my achievements there, combined with the people who are following me now. I don't think ticket sales should be a problem, but you know how life is, it throws things at you. But if things go how we envision it, ticket sales should never be an issue.
It's not all about the following, though. I've got to say, the notoriety might have come from KSI, but it's through your actual hard work and what you're able to do within the ring that enabled the people like Baddy Jack to be interested in your current situation. Talk to us about how you linked up with Baddy Jack and how you're taking part on his inaugural promotional deal.
So I went out to Vegas with KSI. I had a sparring session out there with one of the guys in the Mayweather gym. No one, no one to note on the first day. But he was an amateur out there. He's had a few fights and whatnot. I got the better of him. Everyone thought, okay, cool. Anyone could really get, that you didn't achieve nothing there. Like, cool. A couple of days later, I sparred with Andrew Tabiti, who is one of the best cruiserweights in the world.
Yeah.
And the spar was competitive. I don't know if Andrew took me lightly because he hasn't seen me before, or, but either way, on that day when we were sparring, it was back and forth. And it left people thinking, okay, well, this kid just came here with KSI and he can go back and forth with Andrew Tabiti. Wow. He actually can fight. And Badu Jack's manager, now my manager also, Amir Khan, he said if this kid got a following from hanging around with these guys and he can spar with Andrew, he can fight, and he could be a big deal. So he had the guts and he took the risk of, before I even left the country, to meet up with me and say, listen, I know you have dreams to go to the Olympics, but consider the pro game. And it wasn't a deal made overnight. It wasn't something that I rushed into. I went home, discussed with my family, back and forth, contracts back and forth. And honestly, no part of me regrets the decision I made. I wanted to go to the Olympics, and I believe I could have. There were people ahead of me, but I don't believe they would have been there if I was striving to go to the Olympics. And by having the same manager as Badu, when I'm out in Vegas, we're all chilling together, we're all together. I built a good relationship with Badu and the family. And so when he's decided to venture into promotions, it goes perfectly that I get to headline and showcase my talent and skills against a very valid, very difficult opponent for someone in their third fight. He has a winning record. Not many people in their third fight people with winning records. So some would say it's a risk. I just say it's a chance to showcase and prove why I'm here in the first place.
Turning down the Olympics is a big undertaking, considering everything that you've achieved on the amateur level. And when you look at the trajectory of people like Amir Khan, Boatsi, Anthony Joshua, who the world's best promoters scrambled for after a good showing at the Olympics. It mustn't have been a decision that you took lightly. How did your parents feel about that? Especially because I know that your dad was invested in keeping you focused, and he wanted you to go a particular route. How did they feel about you just deciding, look, the stars have aligned, this is the right opportunity for me?
Well, most people go to the Olympics for glory reasons, but more so to give you a better hand as a professional. When you go to the Olympics, you become a household name, you become a name people know because you're representing Great Britain. And if you do well, that's even more of a bonus. So the reasons that people go to the Olympics, besides to win, is to gain a following and to get a better hand when you get a professional contract given to you, because you have something on the table. Fortunately for me, I'm the only boxer in the world that has what I have, which is the people I hang around with and the ability to fight. So I don't need to go to the Olympics because I have something unique already. And normally being an Olympian makes you unique from thousands of other boxers that are professional. And for me, hanging around with KSI and many of the other guys, he's the name that's always mentioned, but there's people respectively who have 7 million, 8 million, 10 million subscribers, 3 million subscribers, 2 million subscribers. And we look at KSI because he's got 20 million, but all the other guys that I actually hang around with and friends with accumulate way over 20 million subscribers. So I guess that's why making the decision to not go to the Olympics was difficult, but at the same time it wasn't.
I can respect that. Okay. So we look at the careers of people like Anthony Yard, and we say that he's had 12 amateur fights, and he's relatively new in his professional fight, and he potentially is fighting for a world title against Kovalev. People critiqued him early on in his career for not facing a caliber of opponents, and they critiqued him for not going the conventional route, British, etc., etc. Now they're criticizing him for taking. Is that something you're prepared for? The criticism?
Yeah, because I've been criticized already. I've been criticized for apparently being a YouTuber or being hanging around with gamers, and I've been criticized before by various people in different walks of life. So it's kind of something I'm used to. I'm good at letting things just fly over my head anyway. But you can't please everyone. You can never please everyone. So you might think, yeah, I'm worth interviewing. Someone else might think I'm a joke. It's just how life goes. But no, I'm ready for the criticism, and people only criticize people who are doing something.
Absolutely.
You know, you don't get criticized for laying on the street. Yeah. You know, when you're doing something, people criticize you, so I can live with that. That's fine.
No, that's really a good outlook. Yeah. I will ask you about some of the hot button topics. I'd be remiss if I didn't. Big Baby Miller.
Yeah.
He seems to have ingested the entire repertoire of drugs against this fight with Anthony Joshua. I don't know how many tests you've gone through earlier on in your.
One so far, yeah.
Okay, so if you've only had one, what do you think went through his mindset when he took those drugs, the performance enhancing drugs, leading up to the fight? I'll ask your opinion, and then I'll give you mine and see what you think about that.
I think he believes AJ is taking something, and he felt to be equal with his competition, he will have to take something as well. Obviously, there's no proof that AJ is taking anything. He hasn't failed any drug test. But in Miller's mind, and he's made it known in press conferences, he believes AJ juices. I think he thought, you know what, for me to have a chance here and actually make this a level playing field, I'm going to take some stuff too. Which is turned out to be a kind of stupid mentality to have, but that's where I think his mind was at when taking the drugs. I don't think it was to be a step ahead. I think it was like, I need to be equal, at least equal, so I'm going to take something. Yeah.
Okay, it's not dissimilar to my theory. I feel that he was, the task of taking on AJ suddenly dawned on him.
Yeah, it's a big task.
It dawned on him.
Yeah.
And to sign up to VADA willingly and not knowing the stringent tests that they put through to you, despite the fact you've been caught for something minor before with someone that doesn't test as stringently as VADA, I felt maybe he's just looking for a way out of the fight.
I think it could be that, you know, it could be that. Only he will know really why he felt the need to take the drugs that he's taken. But at the same time, I don't think he was looking for a way out. I think when you're at that level, even if you get knocked out, you get paid really well. You know, your life, you start to set your life from paychecks like that and fights of that level. So even if you think you won't win, you step in because, you know, at the end of the day, it's your job. You know, you're gonna get paid well for it. So I don't think he wanted a way out of the fight. I just think he hoped to not get caught, and he did. You know, and now he's paying the price for it.
Oh well.
Literally, that's all we can say.
I was looking into the fight on May the 3rd, and I saw that the special guests are KSI and Amir Khan. What did you think of Naseem Ahmed is going to be there as well? Fantastic. What did you think of Amir Khan's showing yesterday against Crawford? There's a lot of talk about he quit, etc., etc. What's your take?
Well, if he was winning the fight, he would have continued. In one sentence, that's the best way to put it. Amir Khan people give him a hard time. They give him a really hard time. You know, he's always been given a hard time. He is past his best now. He's put a lot of years into the sport. Since 17 years old, he's been at the top of everyone's list. You know, whether it's Olympic silver medal, whether it's whatever he's achieving, world champion, multiple weights. it's past that now. You know, he's past his best, and I feel like if he was winning that fight and took that same low blow, he would have battled through it. But you know, the tide wasn't swinging his way, and I think his trainer could see that also, and it's his job to protect his fighter, and they done that. So he came out the ring safe. He came out healthy. He said he didn't quit. We just have to take his word for it.
Very diplomatic answer. Okay, so Mo Ali is the name of the guy you're fighting.
Yeah.
Your last 2 fights have been blowouts. I think seconds was taking you to.
It's been very quick.
Yeah. What can we expect against a guy who I think is 13-0, 12 knockouts?
So 12-1, 1 with 12 knockouts.
Wow.
So everyone he's beaten, he's knocked out, which is an achievement. To knock out another man takes some doing. But he hasn't knocked no one out in the fashion I have, and I've only knocked out 2 people. But my 2 knockouts, you feel them. You feel the knockouts. When you watch it, you want to replay it. You want to see again. Wait, how did that happen? I've watched him. I've seen him, how he finishes people. And it's nothing spectacular. It doesn't make you want to watch it again. When I knock people out, it's explosive. You know, I have a different speed for someone of my weight category. I've got great speed, and I've proven to have power also. So when I watch him, I look at him as a danger because he's in my way, and he's in my way to me stepping onto the next level. So is he a threat? Yeah, of course he's a threat because he's in my way. But when I look at the styles, when I look at what I bring to the table, my IQ compared to, you know, his, I think I'm going to make the fight seem a lot easier than people believe it will be. And then that's honestly how I feel. That's not even just talking. When you've been boxing 15 years, it's hard to not believe in yourself.
We're definitely all rooting for you. The trajectory that you and your team have mapped out for yourself, is it to go after any particular sanctioning body, get rankings on a particular thing? It's a busy division, especially domestically. What is your trajectory? Are you just taking who's put in front of you at the minute, or do you have a clear plan?
You know, we're only 3 fights in. I know that this opponent is definitely above the level of someone that a 2-fight prospect should be in against. But at the same time, we're still gonna paint our path and take it slow and see what opportunities pop up, because the division's really going through a transitional phase right now. Usyk shut it down for a long period of time, or it's been the Super Six, etc. You know, it's been intense. But now all the belts are up for grabs. The domestic guys are looking to move up. So we'll have to see where the belts shift and spread, and then if there's a way for me to squeeze in, we'll squeeze in.
Well, Viddal, it's been very intriguing talking to you. I think I'll say I've interviewed a lot of people, and you're very level-headed. It's not a unique quality for a boxer to have, but it's always a pleasure when we encounter people that have their head screwed on. Is there anything else that you'd like to add to the Boxing Voice at this time?
Yeah, well, thank you guys for interviewing me. I've been on the Boxing Voice before, and it was definitely a different vibe because my fight literally got cancelled a couple minutes before my last interview on the channel. So, but I still enjoyed it, and I'm glad that it's a thing that's, you know, moving over to the UK. So when I'm here, I can get some time on the channel, and in the US, I can get some time too. So, no, definitely something to be a part of. And yeah, man, thanks for taking your time out as well. That's it.
No, we appreciate you. We also do this live podcast, so we'd love to have you on live one day to profile you a bit better. Have you got any social media you'd like to add out this time?
Yeah, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Is it real? So it's ISITRIL. Make sure you put this on the screen, just in case people don't get it wrong. And yeah, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Viddal Riley, and yeah, just see what happens in my next fight.
Brilliant. So the followers from here can make it 2 million, and what would you be on when they start following?
It's gonna increase more, but every little helps.
We appreciate the time. Thank you for talking to the Boxing Voice.
If you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. as always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.